She woke up at 5:30 every morning, not because she was running late, because getting dressed took 30 minutes. In 1956, a teacher did 12 things before she walked into her classroom, each one deliberate, each one invisible to the students at their desks. Most of those rituals have completely vanished, not simplified, not updated, but erased. And almost nobody alive today remembers what they were. The clothing industry and casual dress culture did not just change what teachers wore. They erased how teachers dressed, the process, the sequence, the physical ritual of building yourself into a professional woman one layer at a time. None of these steps were replaced by something better. They were replaced by nothing. Getting dressed used to take 30 minutes and mean something. Now it takes 3 and means whatever you grabbed off the chair. Number 12. Every 1950s teacher's morning started the night before. She set her hair in pin curls at the bathroom mirror after supper, slept on them, and brushed them out at dawn. Damp hair sectioned with a fine-toothed comb. Each strand wound around 1 or 2 fingers, pressed flat against the scalp, held by crossed bobby pins. A dab of setting lotion worked through each section before winding. Lotta Body was the brand most women reached for. The whole head covered in small coiled discs pinned tight to the skull. A cotton scarf tied over everything overnight. 7 minutes to set each evening. 5 to 7 to style in the morning. It was not comfortable, but from the mid-1930s through the 50s, pin curls were how most American women curled their hair. The morning brush out was its own event. A boar bristle brush through wild ringlets until they became controlled waves. A final mist of aquanet to lock the shape until afternoon. She earned tomorrow's appearance the night before. The hair was not styled. It was prepared, like a lesson plan. But the hair was only the beginning. Beneath the dress she had not yet put on, there was a daily battle most people alive today cannot imagine. Number 11. Before any clothing touched her body, a teacher dusted herself with talcum powder and pulled on a rubber and elastic girdle. It ran from her waist to mid-thigh. Johnson's baby powder, the sweet chalk smell filling the bathroom. She dusted her torso, her hips, her thighs. The powder let the girdle slide over skin instead of gripping. In summer, this step was not optional. Without it, the rubber stuck to damp skin and refused to move. The girdle itself was serious engineering. Playtex, maiden form, Vassarette. Prices ranged from $2 to $25. That was real money on a teacher's salary. A small flap hid the side zipper, a hook and eye closure at the top. The elastic panels pressed everything into a smooth silhouette beneath the dress. In the 1950s, a girdle was not suggested. It was required. One woman remembered her grandmother wearing one every day to a department store job downtown. She would not dream of going without it. That was not vanity. That was armor. And once the girdle was fastened, the real precision work began. Because hanging from the bottom were 4 metal clips, and each one had a job. Number 10. Every morning she attached nylon stockings to the garter tabs on her girdle. Then she checked by hand mirror or by asking someone in the house that the seam up the back of each leg was perfectly straight. In 1954, the average woman bought about 12 pairs a year at a total cost of $9. Most were fully fashioned, knit into the actual shape of a leg, not stretched into a tube. Women constantly adjusted sagging nylons throughout the day. Stockings were measured by gauge and denier. The higher the gauge and the lower the denier, the more sheer and fragile they became. A snag meant a run. A run meant replacement. There was no fixing it. Although seamless stockings existed by the late 50s, most women kept wearing the seamed version. A crooked seam said something about you. A straight one said you cared enough to check. A woman's competence judged by a single line from ankle to knee. The world was watching, and she knew. Stockings clipped, seams straight, but between the girdle and the dress there was still another layer, one that no woman in the 50s would leave the house without. Number 9. A full or half slip worn between the undergarments and the dress. Not optional, mandatory. Without one, a dress could cling in all the wrong places. The slip prevented that. It let the skirt swing freely. It protected skin from coarse wool. It kept perspiration off fabrics that could not be easily washed. The 1950s slip was made from cotton, rayon crepe, or rayon satin. Many were decorated with lace, eyelets, ruffles, or embroidery. Full length from shoulder to knee, or half length from waist down. Lorraine, Vanity Fair, Van Relt. Names on small satin tags at the neckline. Common colors included pink, peach, light blue, and Nile green. The whisper of nylon against nylon when she walked down the hallway. Nobody heard it but her. Nobody saw the slip. That was the point. She wore it because the dress deserved a proper foundation, because what was underneath mattered even when nobody was looking. 4 layers deep, bobby pins, girdle, stockings, slip. And she has not yet put on the dress, has not yet polished the shoes, has not yet pinned the brooch or folded the handkerchief. A 1950s teacher did not get dressed. She assembled herself, layer by deliberate layer, like a house built from the foundation up. Number 8. The dress she wore to school was ironed the night before. The cotton was dampened by hand using a glass soda bottle fitted with a cork sprinkler head. Women of the 50s sprinkled each piece with lukewarm water, folded it, rolled it up, and sealed it in a plastic bag to keep the moisture even. Many used a glass Pepsi bottle with a cork sprinkler top. You tilted it, and water came through tiny holes in a fine, even spray. Niagara spray starch in the aerosol can. The sharp chemical hiss when you press the nozzle. The iron's weight against damp cotton. The board set up in the kitchen. The smell of hot starch on wet fabric. Clean and industrial and final. A cotton shirtwaist dress, usually dark. Navy, charcoal, deep green. Collar pressed knife sharp, cuffs creased flat. Today, the average garment is worn 7 to 10 times before it gets thrown away. Her dress lasted years because someone stood at that board every night. Only 9% of households still iron daily. She did not buy her sharpness, she made it, one pass at a time. The dress was pressed, but what she put on her feet required its own ritual. One that started with a flat tin and a rag. Number 7. A teacher's shoes were polished the night before. Every night. With paste wax from a flat round tin and a horsehair brush. Kiwi brand shoe polish. Originally developed in Australia in 1906. The flat tin with the twist-off lid. The waxy petroleum smell the second you cracked it open. Black or oxblood paste applied in small circles with a cotton rag. Let dry for 10 minutes. Then the horsehair brush in fast side-to-side strokes until the leather caught the light. Sensible leather pumps. Cuban heel, 1.5 inches. Always leather, never synthetic. A pair lasted years with proper care, and she gave it. In 2022, Kiwi announced it would stop selling shoe polish in the United States. 117 years of keeping leather alive ended by a world that decided scuffed shoes were acceptable. She polished hers because scuffed leather said something she refused to say, that she did not care, that she had given up. The shoes were the last thing a student saw when the teacher stood at the blackboard. She made sure they were worth looking at. Number 6. The final visible element of her outfit was often a brooch, a costume jewelry pin at the collar, the shoulder, or the top button of the dress. Trifari, Monet, Coro, Sarah Coventry. Sold at every department store jewelry counter and at living room parties across the country. A cameo on a dark collar, a rhinestone starburst near the shoulder, a small gold circle pin on a Peter Pan collar. That circle pin told the whole town she was a professional woman. The C clasp locking into place with a satisfying click. Woolworth sold them for under $1. Better ones came from the glass case at J.C. Penney, $2 to $5 in a cotton-lined box. Teachers kept a small collection, one for each day of the week, chosen the night before and set on the dresser beside the polished shoes. The brooch said the outfit was finished. It said the woman wearing it was complete. Nobody pins a brooch to a hoodie. The brooch was the visible punctuation, but tucked inside the pocket or sleeve of that dress was something nobody else was supposed to see, unless you needed it. And you always needed it. 6 rituals deep. And notice what connects them all. Not one of these steps was about attracting attention. Every single one was about control. Control of the body, control of the silhouette, control of the surface the world was allowed to see. A 1950s teacher did not dress to be noticed. She dressed so that nothing about her could be criticized. There is a difference, and that difference has a name. The name is discipline. Number 5. Every morning, a folded, pressed handkerchief went into the pocket or the sleeve. Never wadded, never wrinkled. Ironed flat and folded into a triangle, placed where it could be reached without fumbling. In the first half of the 20th century, a lady would not have been seen without one, usually with lace edging and hand-embroidered initials. Proper little girls carried 2 clean hankies, one to use and one to share. The heyday of the handkerchief was the 1950s. Clever commercial artists treated each one as a small canvas. They signed their work and saw it featured at Lord & Taylor and Neiman Marcus. The handkerchief was not just functional. It was art you carried in your pocket. Then Kleenex came along, originally invented in the 1920s as a face towel for cold cream. By the 30s, it was marketed as the antidote to germs. And just like that, women stopped carrying something beautiful in favor of something disposable. What went on the hands before she walked out the front door is something most women under 50 have never once done. Number 4. A teacher put on gloves before leaving the house, usually white cotton, wrist length, for school, for church, for any public appearance. Sold at every Sears, Montgomery Ward, and 5 and dime counter. 49 cents for plain cotton, $1.25 for kid leather. The ritual of pulling each finger taut, smoothing the cotton flat against the wrist. Washed by hand every evening in woolite and warm water. Hung on the towel rack to dry, sometimes pressed with a cool iron the next morning. Nobody thought twice about this. It was simply what you did. The gloves said the world was formal, and she was ready for it. You shook a parent's hand in gloves. You opened the schoolhouse door in gloves. You did not show your bare hands in public the way you did not show your bare feelings. Covered was composed. And composed was the entire job description. The gloves were on. The armor was nearly complete, but there was one invisible thing she added before stepping outside. Something nobody could see, but everyone would notice. Number 3. Before she left the bedroom, she opened a small glass bottle and touched the stopper behind each ear and to each wrist. 1 scent, always the same, applied without variation. Evening in Paris by Bourjois, in its cobalt blue bottle. Chanel No. 5 for special occasions. Taboo by Dana. Or the simpler Muguet des Bois, Lily of the Valley, sold at the drugstore counter for $1.50. Most teachers chose something light and clean. The perfume was never sprayed. It was dabbed. The glass stopper touched the pulse point, and that was enough. Too much fragrance was as unacceptable as too little grooming. The scent had to linger without announcing itself. She wore the same fragrance for years. Her students knew the smell without knowing what it was. It became part of the classroom the way chalk dust became part of the air. When a former student caught that scent decades later in a department store, the memory arrived before the mind could catch up. The scent settled on her skin, but one visible thing still remained before she could walk out the door. Number 2. The last thing she applied was lipstick. One shade, the same shade, every single day. Checked in a compact mirror from her handbag. Revlon Fire and Ice, launched in 1952. Cherries in the Snow, really red. Max Factor True Color in a gold medal tube. Tangy Natural for women who wanted color without looking painted. The waxy pull of the bullet across the lower lip. Blot on a tissue. One more pass. Press the lips together. Done. The compact snapped open to confirm the line was clean. Stratton of England. Elgin American. A drugstore coatie with a powder puff inside. Lipstick cost 50 cents to $1 at the Rexall counter. Makeup was expected to be present, but invisible. Enough to look professional, not enough to look vain. She found the color that made her look composed. She wore it until the tube was empty, then bought the same one. No experimentation, no trends, just certainty. Lipstick on, compact closed, handbag latched. She is almost out the door. But there is one ritual left, the one that came before all the others and after none of them. The one nobody talks about, because it was the most private thing a teacher did. Number 1. Before any of this began, before the girdle, before the stockings, she was wearing something else. A cotton house dress, snap front, faded flowers. Every morning she took it off. That was the first ritual, the crossing. A house dress from the Sears catalog or cut from a McCall's pattern. Snap buttons down the front, pockets on the hips. Women did their morning housework in that dress. No girdle underneath, no makeup on. She made breakfast in that dress, wiped the counter, poured the coffee, saw the children off. Then she closed the bedroom door and began building the person she would be at school. The house dress hung on a hook behind that door. When she came home, she put it back on the way a soldier hangs up a uniform. The public self folded away. The private self resumed. She did not walk out as herself, but as the version 30 children and an entire town expected. Nobody at school ever saw that dress. That single snap at the collar when she came home was the sound of a woman becoming herself again. 12 rituals made the transformation. Not one required a tutorial or a ring light. They needed a mirror, a steady hand, and the belief that how you presented yourself was not vanity, but responsibility. The women who did this every morning did not call it a routine. They called it getting dressed. We stopped getting dressed a long time ago. We just have not admitted it yet. And if you want more forgotten rituals from the generations before us, the next video is waiting right now.